this lecture, we are going to understand how the for each method works in the sets and map data structures. So let's get into it. So for that, we just need to create a map quickly. So let's create one const. I'll name it as user, and then we have to use map data structure, and then I'll go with this syntax, like where we have to pass an array which contains sub array of the entries basically. Okay, so each entry will be the key value pair where the first element will be the key and the second element will be the value. And I hope you guys are familiar with this. So let's say name, and then I'll pass Raunak, and then here in the second one let's pass age, and then let's say 26, and here gender, and let's say male. Okay, so if I log this user map data structure, then you will get something like this, right? Where the key is the name, age, and gender, and the value is the Raunak 26 and male. So now using the for each method is very straightforward in the sets and maps. All we need to do is just use user and then the same signature which we have used in the previous lecture. Okay, what we have to do, we just have to use it like this. I'll go with this syntax in this example. Okay, where we are using the function keyword. Let's remove it, and then again we will get the same parameters, the current element and the index. So in case of map, the index will be the key, right? Because in array we have the indexes which act as a key. So let's say we have ARR, right? Let's use this one so it will be more clear for you guys. Okay, if we have the all the three data structures in one place. So now if we access this ARR, then here as you can see these indexes are acting as a key, right? So to understand like what we are getting in the second parameter, we have passed index or I in the second parameter. But now in case of maps, the indexes are the keys itself, right? Because we don't have any index. These are the keys itself. Okay, the key is the name and then value is the Raunak. So here even if you pass like index or anything, it will return the key only. Okay, the key of the current iteration. Okay, let me show you. If I pass I, then what we will get, and then in the third parameter we will get the map. Okay, since we are using the for each method in the map data structure, so obviously VS Code is also recommending to pass as map only as a variable name or the parameter name. Okay, so let's log it quickly. Element I and map for each iteration. Okay, so now in every iteration we are getting Raunak as the element, name as the key, right? So it's better to use key instead of I, so that the other developers or you in future can easily understand like what the second parameter is returning, what you are getting in the second parameter. Okay, so now it will be more readable for you guys. So here you are getting the key and then element and then the key and then the map, Raunak, name, and then the complete map we are getting in the third parameter. Okay, so it's quite straightforward only. If you wish, you can name it as value, because end of the day we are getting the value of the key, right? So now this is a perfect for each method for the maps if you are using it in the map. Here you will get the first parameter as the current element. In case of map, it is the value of the current uh, property. Okay, and then in the second parameter you will get the key, which is nothing but the key of that map for that particular iteration, and then in third you will get the complete map data structure, okay, in which you are using the for each method. Now let's use the for each method in sets. So for that, let's create a set quickly. Let test set, okay, and new set obviously we have to use, and then here we have to pass the array. Obviously we have to pass some iterables. So let's pass 1 comma 1 2 comma 2 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 4 comma 4, okay. So we know already like set will return only the unique values, right? So let's see that first, if it is returning the unique values or not. So I'm logging these sets now, okay. So as you can see, we are getting 1 2 3 4. We are not getting any duplicate values at all, okay. And if you are expanding this, see, we are getting only the unique values as the entries, okay. That means we have an array which contains subarray which contains some elements, okay. And one more thing I wanted to tell you before using the for each method into the sets. So sets does not have the indexes or the keys, okay. It only has the values. This is how the sets data structure was built, okay. Now if we use the for each method in this, let's say dot for each, and then function, yeah. So here again we have to pass the three parameters which are value and then key and then the data structure which we are using. So in case of this one it is sets, right? So let's name it as set. Now let's see what we are getting in the console log of this one, okay. Let me comment this out quickly so that we have a clear console here, okay. And this one is coming from, so okay, it's coming from here, yeah. So now we have a clear console. Let's log it out, okay. Map is not defined, so we don't have map. Instead of that we have to use set, obviously, okay. So here as you can see, for value we are getting 1, for key also we are getting the same thing which is 1, then 2 in both the variables, and then 3 and then 4. That is why I told you, like in sets we don't have anything called key. But the developers who have designed this for each method for the sets, they should have normally omitted this particular second parameter, right? But why they still kept it is the question right now. Because they wanted to keep the same for each method signature, or you can say the syntax, for all the methods wherever this for each is getting used. If they omit this parameter from the sets for each method, then the developer will easily get confused between the arrays for each method and then the sets for each method, right? Because here they are using the same for each method, but here they will get the three parameters, but here in the sets they will get two parameters. Then they will start thinking like why it is working this way, okay. So that is why, to remove the confusion, they kept the same signature of the for each method for all the data structures wherever this for each is getting used, okay. That is why they mapped the same value which we are getting in the value for the second parameter as well. That is why we are getting the same thing in the both the parameters. So if you want to ignore this one, what you can do, you can simply use a convention which is called throwaway variable, okay. So instead of naming that particular parameter, instead of giving a particular name, you can simply use the underscore. So this convention is called the throwaway variable, which means this is a useless variable right now. It is not used at all. So now since we don't have any key, we can remove this, and then we are back to getting our results. We are simply ignoring this one. Okay. So if you guys are thinking like what will happen if you log this one, then let's see that as well. Okay. So in this throwaway variable, you are getting these values, which is as expected, right? Because this this is a particular variable which is receiving some values in it. But since we have used underscore, so we are giving it a convention like this is a throwaway variable. We don't have to use it. This is for our understanding only. Okay. That is why I have logged this to you guys. You guys might think like if you are using the underscore then it will not receive any value. That is not the case. It will still receive the value which you are getting here. Okay. So this underscore means you guys have to understand like this is a throwaway variable, which means you guys have to ignore this particular variable to use. Okay. So these are the use cases of the for each method for the sets and maps, and these are pretty straightforward, right? If you have understood the concept completely in the previous lecture, then obviously these are the pretty straightforward for you, because here we are not doing anything. We are simply calling these for each methods along with the parameters which we are getting in each iteration. Okay. So this is it for this lecture, guys. See you in the next one.